it out. All right, so do you guys want to, let's open the floor for questions to whatever you want to talk about. We can talk about Bleach, we can talk about Catherine, we can talk about My Thuggy Pony, we can talk about whatever you want.
Bring it on up.
Bring it on. Line up in the middle here.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
You are on.
Hi.
Hi.
That was pretty funny.
Thank you.
I didn't know you were a huge Muppets fan.
Oh, I love puppets. I love puppets. And actually, our puppeteer, the lady who made our puppets, is from Henson. She's a Henson girl.
Oh.
So we got super lucky with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, my question is, it's about Sinon from Sword Online. What is your favorite outfit?
My favorite outfit?
Yeah.
I like the one that she wears in Gun Gale.
Oh, the cat one.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, too.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. I forgot. Thank you.
Thank you.
My question, just in general, is what was the journey like from when you first started your career to where you are now?
Oh, that's a good question. My journey from when I first started to where I am now. Well, when I first started doing voiceover, my career I really consider started in LA, although my first voiceover job was in Michigan. I used to be an agent actually for talent and an office manager at an agency, and my boss had sent me up for an audition for it was for Buckle Up Michigan for seatbelts. So I went to this audition and I ended up laying down the audition. Then I was in the car like a week later with my roommate, and I hear the spot on the radio, and it's me. So they took my audition and actually used it on the radio without telling me or paying me. So that was like my very first job in the voiceover world. Cut to, from there, I moved to Chicago, and I was initially, I have a degree in telecommunications from Michigan State University, so I wanted to be a producer. And I worked for Michigan Public Broadcasting for a long time while I was in Michigan. So I moved to Chicago, and I thought, I want to get into production in Chicago. Well, it just wasn't happening. Like, I couldn't make any connections. So I started back to classes at Second City, and I started doing improv, and that led to more voiceover. Like, I got agents, and I started doing like voices for toys and stuff. And then moving to LA, it was like this ginormous world opened up of like the anime and video game stuff and feature films and TV and commercials. So like, first starting out in LA, it took a long time for me to, like, I was auditioning, especially in the anime world. I think I auditioned for like 2 years before I booked anything. I booked one thing, and then it took like 2 years. And then all of a sudden it was like, so, but now it's like, it's interesting because the whole voiceover industry now, there's a lot more people doing voiceover, I think just because of the digital age and the ability to like send auditions via MP3. You can audition from home. We used to have to go in, to see the casting director. You'd have to go to your agent's office to record. Now you just do it from home. So it's opened up the talent pool quite a bit. But there's also a lot more work. So that's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Michelle. My question for you is, do you have a most memorable line as Anri from Durarara?
Ooh.
Can
Oh
you
my
even
gosh.
remember it?
I feel like it was towards the end of the series when she realizes that she is...
Yeah.
So, I can't remember. I want to say it was something like she says, well, I am the mother.
Yes, she does. Yep.
And it was just like...
Yeah,
so,
that whole aspect.
Yeah, the whole aspect of it was so powerful, and in coming full circle from where we started with her in the series to where she ends was like, kind of
It
mind
was.
blowing.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah. Hi.
Hello there.
Hi.
So, what is your opinion on Yukari's character arc during Persona 3 The Answer?
Well, that's a good question. Someone else asked me this too. I feel like from where Yukari starts, she's very strong-willed, she's very opinionated, and we don't really know like why until we get towards the end of her arc, and we understand that she's doing what she's doing because of her father. So I feel like it kind of comes full circle, and you get more of an understanding of who she is, as a well-rounded person, rather than this, obnoxious teenager with a snappy mouth. So that for me, it's like finding out her character arc and why you realize she's actually very vulnerable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello again. My question is, what is the strangest experience you've ever had while voice acting?
This strangest experience I've ever had while voice acting. That's a good question. The strangest experience. Let's see. I mean, I do have one thing that's kind of weird, but I don't know. It's not really strange. It was just sort of annoying. Do you want to hear that?
Sure.
Okay, so I was working on this movie called Hot Tub Time Machine. Do you guys remember that? Okay.
Great White Buffalo.
Just doing voiceover stuff. So, what happens is it was for Loop Group. So I got brought in, with a whole big group of other people. There were like 20 of us. And we were doing all of the background characters, like all of the young, hot girls in the hot tub and all this other stuff. And this sound supervisor was this guy who was kind of a jerk. And he had brought in a couple requests of his own from these young hot girls that he thought were appropriate for the film, who didn't have any acting experience or didn't know what they were doing up at the microphone. So every time I would get up to the microphone, I would do something, and apparently I wasn't hot enough for him, because he would say, no, that's not right, sit down. And then he would have one of his girls, his little girls, get up and do it. And he'd be like, okay, that's perfect. And they were awful. And I'm thinking, really, dude? Seriously? Okay. Yeah. That would be the strangest.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Howdy.
Howdy.
What is your favorite character that you have ever voiced over?
My favorite character that I've ever voiced over. Oh, do I have to pick one of my children? That's such a hard question. I hate that. Oh boy, one of my favorites. I'm really connected to a lot of the characters that I play just because they're all really a part of me, and they're all so different. If I think about my top 5, Fujiko from Lupin, Sinon from Sword Art, Yoko from Gurren Lagann, Rukia, from Bleach. Those, it's they each are different in their characters, but they're all my favorites because I have such a connection to them,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I gotta admit, I did love the music video.
Thank you.
And also a big fan.
Thank you.
My question is, if Sinon can have one Pokemon, what would it be?
Ooh. Oh boy. A Pokemon. What is the one? Who's the dragon? Charizard.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I would pick Charizard.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, hi.
Hi.
What were some of the difficulties getting a manager or a talent agent as starting out when you first started in your career?
In LA?
Either or.
Well, for LA, you have to, there's so many people that are looking for representation, and there's a lot of really great talent in LA, and I think a lot of it has to do with who you know and how you present yourself in a business sense. Because I think when you're in a creative job or doing the things that I do, or producers or directors or cartoonists or whatever you're doing, it's hard to separate your talent from the business aspect of it. So finding an agent can be difficult because you want to jump into the first person that wants to represent you, and that person might not necessarily be the best person for you. So it's finding that good fit first of all, and trusting the process. But also too, with an agent, I'm not represented right now. I haven't had an agent for 4 years, and I really like it because I get a lot of work on my own, and I feel like that agent thing for me was an extra stress that I really didn't want in my life. I may go back to it eventually, but it's another load. It's another workload. So when you're first starting out, it's great because you need that, and you need the introductions to casting people, but you also have to do that work on your own. You have to find ways to market yourself.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? I like your costume.
Oh, thank you. So voice acting can be a very taxing job on your voice. So what are things that you do to help maintain it through a show or just in general? In general.
Well, there's a number of things. I take seriously 17 different supplements every day. I have a pile. It takes me 10 minutes in the morning to take all my vitamins. So there's that. I have a throat specialist that I see on a regular basis. If I have a really taxing job and I think I've hurt my throat, I'll go and make sure that I didn't do any damage. I have some gargles that I use. There's this one called Gargle Away. It's this lady she's LA based, that she did this really, really intense formula. It's got oregano and apple cider vinegar. It's all dry, and you put it in a tea form, and you gargle with it. It tastes awful. It's the worst thing I've ever tasted, but it really works, And then there's, lemon and honey. I try and limit my caffeine. If I'm on stage, I used to drink coffee a lot more, but now I don't drink coffee. I'll have my coffee in the morning at home, and then once I get to the stage, it's water and hot tea, decaffeinated herbal tea. So, and then I have a vocal coach that I work with, just to keep my muscles, my vocal cord muscles working properly. So it's a whole thing.
Right.
It's a whole regimen.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a question for Catherine.
Okay.
What was the coding process like between the original game and then the make for Full Body? And also, was there any moments that you were like, did I just say that?
There were a lot of moments where I was like, or did that just happen? It really was kind of picking up right where we left off, honestly. Catherine is another character I should have said that I feel really connected to. Just because in the sense she's very reasonable and, well, for the most part, except for this Catherine Full Body. So there was a really big connection with me to her emotionally and vulnerability-wise. So going from like, the recording that we did, I don't know, it was like 8 years ago. I think 8 years ago, and now I just felt like it was seeing an old friend. It was like, hey, I know you, and you just jump right back into conversation again, and you pick up right where you left off. So that's how it was for me. I hope it felt that way.
Yeah.
Like, I hope there wasn't like a big,
No, it seemed like you kind of picked up where you left off.
Yeah,
so,
right, kind of on par. So that's good. I'm glad you feel that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question for about Rukia.
Okay.
And this is probably a question better for like the writers, but I wanted
Can you
to get.
pull the mic down so I can hear you? There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. So this is probably a question better for the writers, but I wanted to get your opinion from someone who's worked on Bleach.
Okay.
Of settling it once and for all in my mind, was Rukia born in the Soul Society, or was she just a regular soul? Because I know there's her sister, and like the thing with the Gi guy, like her body was rejecting the Gi guy, and like.
I think she was born in the Soul Society.
I do too.
I feel like she was.
Okay.
Yeah, just because. I mean, when she got to, when she got to Earth and she met Ichigo, she was so awkward. So I feel like, unless she initially had been born someplace else, there would have been more of a familiarity with things in general. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Yes. So, do you see similarities between many characters you play?
That's a really good question. Well, I mean, obviously Sinon and Yoko are both snipers, and they're both, BA girls. I think when I first started out, I was being cast like more typecast. There was more of like a running theme with all my characters. But as I've gotten older and worked longer in the business, I feel like I have more variety to like what I'm getting cast as. So now I would say no, but in the beginning, absolutely.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
This is a Bleach question.
Okay.
As we all know, Rukia was a huge part in the beginning of the series, and then as the series progressed, she kind of took a back burner.
Yeah.
How would you have liked to seen her evolve as the series gone by?
That's a great question. I mean, I have to tell you, I was really disappointed, like, as the series progressed and she ended up, losing her powers and, at the Soul Society in chains. So, I mean, that was not fun. She did eventually come back, as we know, towards the end of the show with a really, strong, back to her strong powers. I would have loved to have seen her come back sooner. I feel like it would have been nice to have her be that strong female force in the show. I mean, there were other strong female forces, but it seems like, the guys kind of took over, Renji and Ichigo, and which is great. I know, look, Ichigo's a wonderful character. I'm going to punch him in the face, but he's a wonderful character.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good, how are you?
Doing great, thank you for asking. So this is actually a question regarding your work experience. You being a voice actress, have you ever been starstruck with anybody that you ever worked with?
Oh, let's see. Starstruck. Do you guys, I haven't been starstruck. Do you guys remember who Catherine O'Hara is?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. So I was at a studio and she'd come in to do some ADR on, I don't know what she was working on, but this was right after Best in Show. when she did that movie Best in Show. And I walked into the bathroom and she was standing there washing her hands, and she looked up at me and I was like, hi! And I was like, oh my God. I just thought she was like someone that like a friend that I knew, because I just love her so much as an actress. And she was like, hi. And I'm like, how are you? She's like, I'm fine, thank you. And I'm like, great. Awkward moment. She's like, okay, have a good day. She dries her hands and then she walks out, and I was like, oh my God, that was Catherine O'Hara. Like, I didn't realize who it was. I just was like so entranced with her. So that would be my starstruck moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, being in the industry for so long, how has voice acting changed since you started, and how does fandom change as well since you got into the business?
What was the second part?
So it's kind of a two. How has voice acting and sorry.
No, that's good.
All right. So how has voice acting and fandom changed since you got into the business?
How has it changed since I've gotten in the business?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Well, referring back to earlier, like the whole digital age and MP3s, like being able to record from home. Everybody has their own home studio now, you know, so there's more of a bulk of work, and what you do now is at home you have to know how to self-direct, which can be hard. You know, being in the booth by yourself and doing takes of things and not having any direction from outside. You know, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult because you don't have that another objective viewpoint. Like when I first started, I would have to go in and there would be a booth runner. And granted, you had to be ready, like you would have to go in and lay something down. Now, like at home, I mean, I guess the good part about it is at home, I can do as many takes as I want and cut stuff together, but it takes more time, you know, to do that. Like I'm sitting, sometimes I'll be in my studio for 3-4 hours, you know, doing auditions and cutting stuff together. Whereas before, like when I first started, you'd go in, you would walk into the booth at your agent's, you had, you know, you would have one take through, they might give you another shot, you know, and then you were done. So it's interesting. It's a different dynamic now, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How you doing? I got one more question for
Bring
you,
it
Michelle.
on.
So this is a question regarding your work experience. So how has your experience with the fans, how has that impacted you and what you do going forward?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it makes me, like, when I first started doing anime, like video games weren't really on the scene yet, so we're just going to talk about anime. I didn't know that there was the fan base behind it. Like, I didn't realize the whole spectrum of what anime was. You know, just me being naive, and you know, as an actress in LA, I just kind of fell upon it, an advertisement that I answered, an audition, and got this job. So, like my first convention that I went to, it was SakuraCon in Seattle. And I went up there, and I was treated so well, and all the fans were like, oh, we love your work, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had no idea that there was this backside to, you know, what I'm doing, and that people actually like enjoy it. So now, for me, I'm way more conscious in the booth when I'm doing stuff to, like, I mean, I always try and do my best and bring the best performance to something, but in the back of my mind, it's always about you guys, you know, and coming out to conventions and actually getting to talk to people and seeing how, you know, seeing that effect that a show has on someone, you know, or how how they enjoyed it, or if they don't enjoy it, or whatever I'm always open to whatever anyone has to say, because everyone's entitled to an opinion. You may or may not like a character that I do, which is totally cool. But the fans are really, without you guys, we're really nothing. Like how, it's a symbiotic relationship. So if if the fans don't like what we're doing, there's no point in doing it, right?
Respect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello there.
Hi.
My question to you is, do you do anything else besides voice acting, like screenwriting, directing, and which one do you prefer out of those?
Well, My Thuggy Pony is really my first foray into producing and directing and writing. I would love to do more of it. We'd love to do a second season. I love it all. I love voice acting, but I just love the whole process of creating.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I had to do it, but my question is, if you can have Sinon in any video game, what would it be?
Ooh.
In what game do you need an insanely
I wonder
capable
how she
sniper?
would do in Resident Evil.
I would see that.
I'd like to see that too.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate your support and all the love. And I love Sacramento, love everyone up here. You guys are awesome. Oh, my social media, Michelle Ruff, VO1. So Michelle Ruff, V as in Victor, O as in Oscar, or V voiceover, and then the number 1. And that's on Twitter and Instagram. So follow me there. And thank you guys. Love you.
Thank you very much, everybody. And you still have photo op or signings today?
Oh, yeah. I have a photo op right after this at 1 o'clock. And then my last signing is from 2 to 3:30. And then we have to go back home to LA.
So she's still here for a little while longer. So if you have any other questions, want to get an autograph, she's still available for a bit. But thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Eddie, much for
Thank you.
showing us what you got.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Lovely having you guys here.